Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Professor Santosh Nandal. Today we will discuss International Labour Organization. It's a second part of ILO. The first part regarding introduction and what are the fundamental things are taken in ILO, that is videos already uploaded on my YouTube channel Professor Santosh Nandal. So you can have a look on it, you can go through it. What are the core conventions of the ILO? The 8 fundamental conventions form an integral part of the United Nations human rights framework, and their ratifications is an important sign of member states' commitment to human rights. So, specifically what we can say that ILO specifically working for to how the interest of the workers regarding their development and to save their human rights. So, that is the basic purpose of ILO. Overall, 135 member states have ratified all 8 fundamental conventions. Unfortunately, 48 member states out of 183 member states, including member states with the highest populations, have yet to complete ratifications of all 8 conventions. So, in these 8 conventions, 48 member states, so they could not complete all these because specifically these are for the welfare of workers and to protect their human rights, and about the gender, to stop gender discrimination, and about the full wage must be given to all workers without any exploitation. What are these 8 core conventions? Forced labor convention, you can't force anybody for labor work. Abolition of the forced labor convention, so that must be, if there is any such kind of discrimination, so that must be abolished. Equal remuneration convention, no gender discrimination, equal remuneration must be given to each and every worker. Discrimination employment occupation convention, because no discrimination on the basis of their occupations. If they have higher degree of skills, so they must get more wages without any discrimination on the part of gender. Minimum wage convention, so minimum wage rules must be applicable, that is also one of the convention of ILO. Worst forms of child labor convention, so child labor must be prohibited, this is also one of the part of convention of ILO. Freedom of association and protection of rights to organized conventions. To association they must have freedom and their rights must be protected. Right to organize and collective bargaining conventions. Bargaining, you can bargain about your work, about your ways. So, such type of the provisions is given in one of the convention of ILO. The 8 conventions taken together are more relevant today in the face of global economic and other challenges impinging on the welfare and livelihood of workers in all regions. Because we are a globalized country nowadays, the boundaries from one country to another country that has already been opened, and during this regime, so the benefits to workers and to protect the livelihood of workers and to work on the welfare of these workers, so that must be applicable to all the member states. But I have told you that 48 member countries, so they could not implement all these conventions which are given in International Labour Organization. What is the decent work agenda? As part of its mission, the ILO aims to achieve decent work for all by promoting social dialogue, social protection and employment creation, as well as respect for international labor standards. The ILO provides technical support to more than 100 countries to help achieve these aims with the support of development partners. What is the ILO Declaration on Fundamental Principles and Rights at Work? It was adopted in 1998. The declaration commits member states to respect and promote 8 fundamental principles and rights in 4 categories, whether or not they have ratified the relevant conventions. What they are? What are these? Freedom of association and the right to collective bargaining. It is in Convention 87 and 98, which is elaborated in ILO Convention. Elimination of forced or compulsory labor, that is also mentioned in Conventions number 29 and number 105. Abolition of child labor, Conventions in 138 and number 182. Elimination of discrimination in respect of employment and occupation, it is in Conventions number 100 and 111. So, what does it mean convention? Conventions means all these declarations, the rules and regulations which are mentioned in the ILO. See, those who are member countries, so they should have to follow all these conventions which is mentioned in ILO principles or in the fundamentals of ILO. India and ILO. What is the scenario between these two countries? Between International Labour Organization and India. India is a founding member of the ILO and it has been a permanent member of the ILO governing body since 1922. So, long period of the time India has been and a founding member of ILO. In India, the first ILO office was started in 1928. The decades of productive partnership between the ILO and its constituents has mutual trust and respect as underlying principles and is grounded in building sustained institutional capacities and strengthening capacities of the partners. So, this is a between the ILO and India, all these rules and regulations which are leveled in ILO. So, India also taking into consideration ki how this the productive partnership between ILO and India that can be possible. So, India is working on these issues also. India has ratified 6 out of 8 core fundamental ILO conventions. These conventions are which have been adopted by India and effectively made by India during the implementation of the conventions and the policies of ILO. So, what are these? These are Forced Labor Convention, which was in number 29. So, that has been implemented by India by adopting the core conventions which is mentioned in the ILO. So, that is also adopted by that. Abolition of the Forced Labor Convention, which was mentioned in 105, that has also been adopted by India. Equal Remuneration Convention, that is in number 100, that has already been adopted by India. Discrimination Employment Occupation Convention number 111 or 111, that has also been adopted by India. Minimum Age Convention number 138, that has already been implemented by India because India is a founding member of it. Worst Forms of Child Labor Convention. So, this is also adopted by India because if you see that child labor that has already been prohibited in country. So, under the 14 years of age nobody can take work from child. So, this is that has already been implemented, this convention which was an ILO by India. India has not ratified the 2 core fundamental conventions. What are these? Freedom of Association and Protection of Rights to Organize Conventions, which is in 1948 number 27, and Right to Organize and Collective Bargaining Convention 1949, which is in number 98. So, these 2 conventions which are mentioned in the ILO agenda of or ILO convention of 1948 number 27 and number 98. So, that is not implemented by India. These are 2 fundamental conventions. The main reason for non-ratification of ILO convention number 87 and 98 is due to certain restrictions imposed on the government servant. So, there are some rules, regulations which are made by Government of India. So, Government of India has made some rules and regulations for their employees, for the government servants, and under this number 87 in 1988 does not allow Government of India to adopt all these conventions which are mentioned in International लेबर ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. तो ये 2 जो चीज़ें हैं वो 87 और 98 है. क्यों? क्योंकि गवर्नमेंट सर्वेंट्स के लिए सरकार ने अलग से इस तरह का प्रोविज़न बना रखा है कि जो 2 कन्वेंशन हैं जो इंडिया ने ILO की अडॉप्ट नहीं की हैं, सो वो उस रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशंस के अंडर फॉल नहीं करती है, तो इंडिया डिड नॉट अडॉप्ट दैट. What is the role of trade unions at the ILO? Trade unions play a crucial role in developing policy at the ILO. Workers' group representation is drawn from national trade union confederations. The Bureau for Workers' Activities at the Secretariat is dedicated to strengthening independent and democratic trade unions so they can better defend workers' rights and interests. So, the trade union's role is highly appreciated or acknowledged by international labor organizations, and they are fully or they can fully work for the better enhancement of adopting of all these conventions and such kind of the policy which are policy for the development of workers. So, trade unions they can suggest to ILO. So, ILO has given the free hand to trade unions. So, thank you very much for listening. Contact me if you have any question and query on my email ID professorsantosh.eco@mdurohtak.ac. So, please like and share this video and subscribe my channel Professor Santosh Nandal. The first part of ILO regarding the objectives, the introduction, so that his video is already uploaded on my YouTube channel. So, you can see from that. So, thank you very much.